Welcome to Fallawsophy. I'm your host, Jennifer Fallawdoring, and today we're going to have a little bit of Jentel that I got yesterday. Um, then we're going to have some thoughts over coffee with Jesus, and I'll explain what that is when we get there. So yesterday, I did interdimensional meditation for October 7th, 2024, with Archangel Michael, Uriel, and Gabriel. And Uriel spoke. And interesting that he showed up. Doesn't normally show up. I normally talk to Uriel about universal topics when he is the Archangel of Wisdom. And so I spoke with him, and he gave me all the information yesterday. So, RV News. International loans and debts are being paid. They must be paid first as conditions of Jasara. And that is what is going on right now. Once these transactions are complete, the public, he means individual people, would go into their exchange appointments. Public transactions can proceed. This is happening now. Papers signed for banks to accept USTN, U.S. Treasury notes. So that's happening now. They're doing that. So that has been done, I believe. An approximate projected date for Tier 4B public notifications to exchange or the first day of appointments is October 14th. Coming in the news. Everyone was worried about the hurricane coming towards Florida. So I asked about that. And he said, the hurricane approaching Florida will shift south slightly. Come ashore as a Category 4, so approach the shoreline as a 4. Then quickly reduce to a Category 3. Then reduce to a Category 2. It will be a 12-hour event. Quick. We're going to see flooding, rivers overflow, some devastation, but not as bad as projected. Now this part, he says, Elon breaks either the silence or his silence. And yesterday on Real News with Mike and Jen on Rumble with Mike Barra, we were talking about that. And if you missed that, you can go back and watch that. But I think it probably means that if there's no communications, that Elon launches the Starlink, I think it's Starlink, and breaks the silence. So that's interesting. There is a team in place to proceed with the transition politically. And there will be no EBS countrywide or worldwide until November. Today, the only thing I have to add to all of that is that we're waiting for big news today, possibly tomorrow. Okay? That would probably be the international loans and debts being paid. Mike Barra seemed to think, or we came to the conclusion that under Jasara, all the bonds and things like that are considered debts. And then you've got like the claims. And so that is in the process and the groups being paid out now. I think that's the news we're waiting to hear. Makes sense. Then we go in, we have a hurricane, we get cleaned up from that, we get communications back. It makes sense that we could have notifications October 14th. Now, this could start in other parts of the world besides the U.S. before that. We'll just have to see. Okay. So this is interesting. I'm going to share some personal stuff with you today. Thoughts over coffee. So this morning I woke up. Energies are crazy, okay? Personal life's challenging, okay? And just woke up feeling discouraged. And I'm thinking, you know what? The dogs woke me up at like 4 a.m. to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I'm like, well, I'll sit with Jesus for a while, talk to him. So this began as me journaling to Jesus, which is a good thing that you can do. Sometimes when you're feeling discouraged, just write down your thoughts, get them out. Get them out of your head so you're not circulating in there. And the best place to do that is with Jesus. Okay, so I sat with him. I told him what I was feeling, and it was like I was writing to him, but it shortly turned into him writing to me. And this is what I call auto writing, when you kind of hear one word at a time in your head and you just write it down. Writing down what I'm hearing from him. And me thinking that he's writing to me, although I'd believe that he was. Before I started doing this, I also told him I didn't know what to say on the show. I didn't know what to talk about. I didn't know what to teach. And I think this is for all of us. So I'm going to read this to you. And it's on the phone, because I type faster with my thumbs. So it's on the phone. Okay, journaling with Jesus. Jesus, although I have tried, I have not always been successful in doing my best. I've experienced moments of weakness, procrastination, frustration, and anger. I failed too many times to live up to the expectations and been too stubborn to stay within the acceptable parameters that those who loved me set. I've been insulted, abused, wrongfully accused, and diminished by people who felt my achievements highlighted their failures. But through all the triumphs and failures, actions and reactions, tests and lessons, I do know one thing about myself. When given the opportunity to harm or to love, I have loved. When given the opportunity to give, I have given. When given the opportunity to understand or condemn, I have listened and I understood. When I was tested, I remained faithful. I am a gentle soul with a large capacity to love, who has been strengthened by the times when I did not receive love in return, and by the times when I was punished for giving too much of it. These are my strengths. This is where he started talking to us, or me, all of us. This is the heart of a humanitarian. To lift others out of the water that you are drowning in. Many of you understand. Many have walked similar paths. A heart grows weary after a while. We must not let it harden us. We must not let it turn us away from love itself for fear of additional suffering. That would be turning away from who you really are. Listening to the abusive voices of the past would say you are not worthy or deserving of the love and appreciation that you so freely give. That would be imprisoning yourself for fear of imprisonment. We must never lose hope in a better tomorrow. even if the world says it is not possible. We must never stop striving to be a better version of that loving soul. It is the lovers and the dreamers who save humanity from itself. One thing we can do is give when it is accepted, teach when the questions are asked, and be open to learn from our past so we can achieve in the future. And most of all, stop accepting less than you deserve. So often, givers are most disappointed when our efforts are not appreciated. Go out and find those who are shackled by the limitations that society has burdened them with. Go out and give to those who have potential to become givers. Do not be discouraged by the takers. The seed of giving has been planted. It is up to them to give it life and watch it grow. Be like the dandelion, whose seeds always find a way. If your efforts are rejected or unappreciated, or what you have to teach is not accepted, then the gift that you have to give is not, or was not, for them. You will find your way to the one, or many, that it is meant for. There will always be people who squint when you shine. But there will be many more who welcome that light. Keep shining. It is the very reason you came here. Do not worry about who you were when you were learning to be who you are now. Just be that self now. Knowing that who you are now is good. There will be people who really see you. Understand that you are also deserving of love and let it in. This part. There is a reason why you have been led to a place of abundance. It is to share with them, but it is also to reward you for being you. That one kind of gets me. That one, it's kind of hard to hold that one. That's Jesus. Okay? That's freaking awesome. I mean, I was just like, so we're about to go out and do it. If he's sending messages to me, to you, we're about to go do it. And the word today is that we're waiting on news to give us that confirmation that it's happening. I'm going to put this up in writing. I'm going to post it on Fallawsophy if you'd like to share with somebody who you feel would benefit from it. But I think we're on our way. That was a pep talk from Jesus to the humanitarians. Of course, it was for me, but it just slowly turned into something that was for all of you. And that's a good day. That's a good day when that happens. So, longer. Am I here? It just blacked out. Tell me if I'm here. Well, we'll try to get through this as much as we can. There seems to be something going on with the connection. Pray on the connection. Okay. So, right now we're being bombarded by a lot of and things you can't even see. You know, things are boiling up in your personal life because they are things that will no longer suit you where you're going. People in the spiritual community. I'm frozen. I'm good. We're good? Okay. Lone Wolf, thank you. Um, things are boiling up in your personal life because you're about to step through a doorway to a place where you're going to do some amazing things. It's not like everybody's going to go save the world, but there may be people in your life or things in your life that aren't going to be comfortable where you go. And people in the spiritual community are very aware of that. We talk about it all the time. Oh, it's one of these times when things are falling away because I'm going to start something new. And that happens. So we lean on God. We lean on Jesus. We try to understand it as much as we can. We try to look at that situation and say, is there anything that I've done? Is there anything that I can do to stop this from happening or to, learn from this? And when we've done everything that we can and it still falls away, then we need to accept that it was something that no longer suits us. And we wrote to either part ways or to stop doing that or whatever it was at that time to move forward. Then we've got the energies coming at us from the dark side because the vibration of people, the hope, what people are doing is they've gotten down to a very depressed state. Okay? The good guys in the world are attacking the bad guys, and their demons don't like that. And so they're going to try to diminish humanity's vibration as much as they can. So they're going to stay here. Okay? Because they're never supposed to be here to influence humanity. They broke into one of the levels of heaven and corrupted this dimension to a point where they could remain and use pieces of God, humanity, to do their bidding. Okay? That's why they say it's biblical. And this shift right now is shifting the scales to maintain a balance so that this dimension is not corrupted completely and become one of the darker dimensions. So when the good guys, we'll just say white hats, whatever you want to call them, worldwide, and the humanitarians and everyone who rises up through the crushing darkness of fear and sadness and depression and hardship, and still hopes for a better tomorrow and reaches out to God. Those people are doing that right now. And so the energies are going to be turbulent. Okay? So it's a very emotional time. Everyone is exhausted, unsure. Should I give up? Should I keep believing in this? You didn't come here to give up. And they told us the end would not be for everyone. Only the strong will make it through. And there will be people that gave up that come running back to the party later and say, oh, yeah, I believed all along. Okay, well, we'll accept you in. That's fine. That's fine. But they will admire those who didn't. You are the examples. You are the ones that go first. And that is the hardest. But we are winning. Just like I've said so many times. Go into a dark room with a flashlight. Regular flashlight. Turn it on. Is the room a bit lighter? Mm-hmm. Now invite a friend in. Give them a flashlight. And more. And more. And more. And the room's not so dark. It's not so dark anymore. Okay? They know this. This is why the programming has kept you in fear. It has kept you... Everything you watch is sad and sick and twisted or scary. And it has increased over time. I've seen it even just in the last 15 years. They want to keep you down. And we have our moments. We have our moments where, like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can get through this challenge. I mean, this is pretty hard, But where else would we go? Where else would we go? We'd just lay down and give up? Well, you could do that for a couple minutes. The situation is still the same. Something needs to be done. We will rise together, just as we've walked through this journey together. And we will all become that force to be reckoned with. And just like Jesus said, there's all these books telling you about how to turn away from love itself because you were hurt by it, because you can't make good decisions, because you were wronged. Some even go as far to say as you have an addiction to love. Okay? Yeah, I do. It is the substance that we are made of. It is the reason. Two prime reasons why anybody does anything. Love or fear. And most of the time, fear is not being loved or accepted or okay. It is what we all seek. And to turn against love itself and to give up on that, that's how you find yourself in darkness. That's how you create your own prison. Create your own prison because of fear of imprisonment, is what he said. When we think, maybe I'll just never love again. Maybe I'll just never trust anyone again. Maybe I'll just isolate myself from society. That would never stick with this group. You might be able to do that for a short period of time. You will find yourself back in it. Because it is the absolute reason that we came here. To be an example of that. To not let this programming that is circulated from all these people that have been wronged and hurt and centered in fear diminish those who came to carry on the legacy of teaching people about love. Talk about romantic love. I'm talking about love itself. All of it. All of it. We do not give up on that, because that is the reason for everything. So, I don't know what else to say. I think that sums it up. I mean, that's the reason for everything. And if it's not your reason, well, you're in the wrong room. You're in the wrong room. Because I'm not just some truther who comes out here and tells you what I think in my small circle. My circle is big. I have talked personally to thousands of people. Most of them come back or have been with me for years. I know what they really feel. I know what they've really gone through. And I know and see their true spirit. And we are all made of the same cloth. And time again, when I come out here, could it be my personal situation? Yeah, it could be my personal situation. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're about to step through a doorway into the most beautiful time that we all planned. And just, I wrote something yesterday on Fallawsophy, and when do you have the hardest tests? Right before you graduate. Right before. When you're put to the test to see that everything that you have learned so far, see if you really know it. So it's when we're hit with the hardest of tests that we pull from that file, from all the lessons that we've had, and everything that made us who we are today. And we ace it. We ace it. And that's where we are. Now let's see if there's anything I can say from people who may or may not speak to me about things. Okay. Probably not. Let me see. All right, we're looking for the afternoon for good news. And I have an audio from somebody that I can't listen to, but we're looking for the afternoon for good news. If the afternoon passes, I mean, probably Pacific time. I'm really not sure what time period. Today, let's just say today, we should get some kind of good news about the international loans and debts being paid, so that we can, once those transactions are complete, we can proceed with our turn in the RV. And that is the abundance Jesus was talking about. And remember that you were led to this opportunity to step into a place where you will have the means to give. But it's also for you. So many times I've heard from humanitarians over the years, I just know the spirit. They're always just like, well, I did this and I did that and I gave this and for everybody around me and I'm totally exhausted and nobody ever gives anything back. Well, God does. Tenfold. tenfold. Don't you ever doubt that. So we're on our way to that. And that's going to be fun. That's going to be great. But you remember it's for you too. All those times when you were not appreciated. All those people that took from you when you gave and never gave anything back, God's giving it back to you now. And that's going to be awesome. And I'm excited. Whether it takes a day, or it takes a week, or it takes 2 weeks, or whatever, it's coming. We know that we have gotten this far through the process. This is not our imagination. This is a real thing. This is happening. And I don't think there's any way that they can stop it. God, please don't let there be any way they can stop it. So, I look out across the landscape and I'm there with you. Okay? Mama's having a hard time. But we always rise from the ashes. We will always come running out of that corner. And we need to do that now. And what part of that? I loved it where he said, go out and find the givers who have been shackled by the limitations of society. Love that. That's what it's about, isn't it? Because there's people like you and me that are out there who are so good and so loving and so giving. And if the shackles were taken from their feet, they would come and join us. And isn't that what happened when Jesus walked? Didn't he come to teach us about love and God, that God loves you? Yeah. He come to glorify himself. Yeah. And when he walked, more and more followed. Okay? You are the disciples, whether you know it or not. If you're Jewish, Jesus came and did it all for God. If you're Jewish, you're doing it for God. You're doing it for the people. You're doing it for God's people. We're doing that now. We're going to go out and we're going to hit it out of the park. And we're going to make this world and this dimension shine so bright. There'll be very little darkness left. All because of free will. Will there always be villains? There might be. But not so many. Not so many. It's crazy. God, I bet you all have amazing stories. I bet your life has been an amazing story. When I go through something in my own life, I look back on it and I'm like, that sucked, man. But that was a good story. I mean, I'm a writer. That's a really good story. We will rise from the ashes. And I feel it coming. I do. I felt it coming for a couple months now. So, I don't really have anything else today. Let's see. There is a reason why you have been led to a place of abundance. It is to share with them. But it is also your reward for being you. And some people say, well, no good deed just goes unpunished. Well, how negative of you. We don't want you at our party anymore. Thanks. No good deed goes unrecognized. It's just time. We just never know when. But it will come around to you. And it has. And don't worry about who you were when you were learning to be who you are now. Some people carry this heavy pack of, well, God, I didn't always make the right decisions and I totally kind of screwed that person over. And, you know, that's why we were given forgiveness. It's not so that God would accept you. It's so that you would accept you, but that you would accept his love. You would accept others' love. You would lift these heavy burdens from your back, because the way God sees it, he sees his children, just like kids in school, learning lessons. It's like, okay, Jimmy, maybe you shouldn't have, pushed Billy down and taken his ball, ran away and laughed. That's probably not okay. What do you think about that now? Well, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. That's how God sees this stuff. Okay, well, don't do that again. Okay. Do we do it like 3 or 4 more times? Maybe. But the lesson is eventually learned. And sometimes the lesson is learned when you experience what you did to somebody else. So, however old you are, there's something within you that knows that this time was coming. You don't know what you know, and you don't know when it is, but there's something inside you that you always knew could not be extinguished. And that is the love you have to give. If your efforts are rejected or unappreciated, or what you have to teach is not accepted, then the gift that you have to give is not for them, or was not for them. You will find your way to the one or many that it is meant for. Sometimes we have to do that, We don't know. We're walking around with blinders on. We forgot everything. We're here. We've got a team guiding us. But you also have free will and freedom of thought and emotion and everything else. Let it all go. Let everything that went before now go, because who you are now is good. And we will go be shining examples for all those learning their lessons now. And they will choose to be good too. So yay. Good day. I just have this little giggly feeling like something's coming really good. I want you guys to all to pray for everybody in the path of the hurricane. I don't think that it's going to be as bad as projected. My point about being bombarded with fear right now, they'll use an opportunity like that. People are so used to jumping into fear that it becomes a habit. It becomes almost a defense mechanism. Well, I better prepare for this because this could go bad, so I might as well just imagine the worst now. Well, maybe we shouldn't always do that, okay? Maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, prepare. Prepare in a situation like that, of course. Just like we make sure that we don't spend all of our money in one day and we can pay the bills and we have food in the house and we, survival. Of course, survival. But we don't have to always jump to the worst possible conclusion or stay centered in the worst possible scenario, do we? Who are the people that we idolize in society? The ones that achieve? And how did they do that? Minus the bad guys, okay? They believed that they could, and so they did. So handle your business, deal with the emotions, get them out, write them down, give it to God, and ask God to work his miracles in your life. That's what I do. God, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And it appears as though things have gone really bad. Okay? And I don't have a hero. I need that to be you. Please come into my life and let me see your miracles. Done. Done. Okay? Little Jesus pep talk today for me, for you, and that was cool. And I'm going to write that down and I'm going to post it on Fallawsophy on Telegram, and you guys can share it if you'd like. But I got to get going. Might do Thursday show. I'm not sure. Tomorrow I will be on Real News Live with Mike and Jen on Rumble, and I'll be taking your questions. So if you'd like me to answer a question for you, we can do that there. Okay? All right. Stay positive. Pray it in. And I will talk to you. Wait a minute. Next time. Have a good day. Bye.